Varying sentence structure. In other words, this is called sentence variety. So you see this on rubrics and in teachers' comments, but maybe you're not quite sure what sentence variety or vary your sentences really means. So sentence structure refers to how the words are placed in sentences. This is also called syntax. So just like diction is important in your writing, so is sentence variety. You want to keep your audience interested, so you should shift and change and modify your sentences. Sentences that are marked with sentence variety, or SV, often repeat subjects, lengths, or even types. It'll take some practice and lots of revisions, but you'll get the hang of it and improve your writing style. So first, let's go over some sentence types. We do have a simple sentence. It's just one complete sentence. It's a sentence that expresses one complete thought. It's also called an independent clause, meaning that it can stand on its own, as in Brutus killed Caesar. A compound sentence has two complete sentences or two independent clauses joined by a comma and a coordinating conjunction, like for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Or it can have two complete sentences linked with a semicolon. So Brutus killed Caesar, comma, but he had a good reason to do so. Notice that the comma comes before the coordinating conjunction. It does not come after it. You also have Brutus killed Caesar, semicolon, he had a good reason to do so. Notice that what comes after the semicolon is not capitalized. You will only capitalize it if it is a proper noun or a proper adjective. Another type of sentence is a complex sentence. It has one complete sentence and also a dependent clause. A dependent clause is essentially a sentence fragment. It is not complete because it relies on an independent clause to make it complete or to make it whole. As in because Brutus feared Caesar's tyranny, he killed Caesar, or Brutus killed Caesar because he feared Caesar's tyranny. Here, the first one, you have the dependent clause comes before the independent clause, and that's why there is a comma. There's no comma in the second sentence because it is reversed. You have your independent clause with the dependent clause following it. The last sentence type is a compound complex sentence, and this will have two complete sentences connected with a comma and a coordinating conjunction and at least one dependent clause. As in the example, Brutus killed Caesar because he feared Caesar's tyranny, and now he has to explain himself to the rest of Rome. So I'm going to show you an example of a repetitive paragraph. This is only a partial paragraph. This is not a complete paragraph, but you will get the idea of why it's repetitive. You see that there are multiple colors. I have highlighted each sentence in a different color because it will help you see if you really are using sentence variety with length. You see that there are things circled too. I have circled all the subjects. Notice how they are also in the same position for each sentence. So we do not have varying sentence beginnings. Antony is better public speaker than Brutus. He actively includes the audience in his speech. Sounds very choppy. Antony uses verbal irony to counter Brutus's argument that Caesar was ambitious and the conspirators are honorable. He repeats the words ambitious and honorable in rhetorical questions to imply the opposite. The audience is then able to decide for themselves if Caesar really was ambitious and Brutus really is honorable. You can see that a lot of the sentences are of similar length too. So we have a lot of monotony happening in this paragraph. Another trick to look for sentence variety is by analyzing or identifying each sentence in the paragraph. So I've taken that paragraph and broken it down sentence by sentence. Again, you get a clearer picture of the sentence length and also the types of sentences. We only have simple and we have complex. Very similar in length too, so not a lot of sentence variety. So to revise sentences, you want to add that variety. It adds a little spice. You can combine similar simple sentences to create a compound sentence, or you can create a compound complex sentence by adding a dependent clause to an already existing compound sentence, or you can add another independent clause to an existing complex sentence for this particular paragraph. So let's take a look at that example now after it's been revised. We have Antony is a better public speaker than Brutus, for he actively includes the audience in his speech. Now we don't have two simple sentences, but we have a compound sentence, so it doesn't read as choppy. To counter Brutus's argument that Caesar was ambitious and the conspirators are honorable, Antony uses verbal irony. It no longer starts with the subject, so it's not monotonous, it's not repetitive to the former sentence. By repeating the words ambitious and honorable in rhetorical questions, Antony implies the opposite, yet he still allows the audience to decide for themselves if Caesar really was ambitious and Brutus really is honorable. So here we have combined a couple sentences too, so to create a compound complex sentence. We now have different sentence beginnings. We also have different varying lengths in the sentences, and we have different sentence types. So you have a more mature and interesting writing style. So for a review, we have sentence variety enlivens your writing so that it's not monotonous, it's not repetitive. Changing beginning words and phrases of sentences can be refreshing for the readers, it's not dull anymore, and can even emphasize different ideas in the sentence. Remember that too many simple sentences in a row sound choppy. It sounds very juvenile. So by adding a variety of sentence types, it can make your writing more mature, more sophisticated. For additional help with varying sentence structure, you can click on the Purdue Online Writing Lab here. You see the owl. You can click on that link and it'll take you to the website, and you can look at the different resources and examples for you to use in your writing. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your first draft of your op-ed, but definitely utilize these tips and these strategies when you are revising and editing your piece. Remember, your rough draft is due Thursday.